Right, so this is a circle equation question. It gives us a circle C with this equation and asks us to find the center and radius of C. So we need to rearrange this into our normal form of x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So what we're going to do, I'm just like completing the square. We're going to look at the x and the x squared and the x term. Okay, so that means that I must have x minus 2 squared. So when that's expanded, I'll get x squared minus 4x. And then I just have to remember the extra term that will be generated, which is plus 4. Then for y, I've got y squared and plus 8y. So I must have y plus 4 squared, because that will give me y squared plus 8y. And again, I get an extra term generated at the end of 16. Right. So now, if I write x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared, okay, that's equal to 33. But I've added these two extra things on. So I've got to add another 20 to balance that out. Because basically, because I swapped x squared and y squared for these, they generated an extra 20 with those constants being squared at the end. So my equation, I've got 53 on this side. So that means that my radius is equal to the square root of 53, because remember it's r squared. On the left hand side, I can see I've got minus 2 and I've got a plus 4. So that means that my center is 2 minus 4. So that is my center and radius. Now the points, minus 5, minus 2, and 9, minus 6 both lie on C. And I've got to show that PQ is the diameter of C. Well, there's a number of ways I can do that. What can I do? I could use Pythagoras and show that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is a circle, and I know the radius, so I could show that the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. Or I could use the circle again and show that basically it makes a 90-degree angle. So I can show that that 90 degrees means that this is a diameter. Okay, so I'm going to take the easy one. I'm going to do the diameter as 2 times the radius. So the distance from P to Q. So I'm going to draw a right angle triangle. And that's going to go from P to Q. So P is minus 5 minus 2. And Q is 9 minus 6. So we go from minus 5 to plus 9, which means that that is 14. We go from minus 2 down to minus 6, that means that is 4. So the length between P and Q is the square root of 14 squared plus 4 squared. 14 squared is 100 and, sorry, 196, of course. And then I add 4 squared, which is 16. And I take the square root of 212. And I get 2 times the square root of 53. And we know that the diameter is 2 times the radius, which we found when we wrote the equation of the circle. So that's that. Now, point R lies on the positive y-axis, and the angle PRQ is 90 degrees. So let's think about what we know. So I've got to show that PRQ is 90 degrees. Well, I've just shown that PQ is the diameter. Okay, so all I have to do is to show if that's the diameter, that means that R has to be on the it's on the y-axis. So how can I do that? Well, if it's on the y-axis, if I've got a circle, and I know that P and Q are my diameter, then any circle, any point that I draw, that's P and that's Q. If this is R, that is 90 degrees. If this is R, that is 90 degrees. If this is R, that is 90 degrees. So I need to find the point on the circumference, wherever it is, here or here or here or anywhere in this semicircle, that will be 90 degrees. But it has to be, R is on the positive y-axis, so that means that R must be 0, y. Because on the y-axis, x is always 0. So now that means that what I can do, I can go back to my circle equation. So, and I can substitute in these values. So I've got x, which is 0, minus 2 squared, plus y plus 4 squared equals 53. Well, minus 2 squared is just 4, plus, expand out this bracket, so I've got y squared plus 8y plus 16 equals 53. I'm going to collect this together, make it equal to 0 so that I can solve my equation. So I've got y squared plus 8y minus 33 equals 0. And now I just need to find the correct value of y. Well, when I solve that equation, I get that y is equal to 3 or minus 11. And we're told it's on the positive y-axis. So that means it can't be this one. So that means that y must be 3. So the coordinates of R, remember that's the question. The coordinates of R are 0, 3. And now we've fully answered the question.